Welcome to the iPad Podcast, a weekly podcast from Mac's Future.
Okay, welcome to the iPad Podcast. This is Lex at Mac's Future. Hey, today is Sunday, November 20th, 2011, and there's all sorts of iPad stuff to talk about. This is a chit-chat-free podcast all about the iPad. Thanks for listening, and let's get to it. Okay, so the first story concerns the iPad 3. You know, we're not even to Thanksgiving, and already, the stories are hot and heavy about the next iPad. I mean, the iPad that's out now, of course, is the iPad 2, but there's already stories out on the iPad 3, and I expect the iPad 3 to come out either in March or April 2012. And I'm sure it's going to be a major step up from the iPad 2. The iPad 2, for me, felt like a major step up from the iPad. So what are some of the stories? Well, MacRumors on Friday, November 18th, had a story entitled iPad 3 Display Shipments Nearing 3 Million Units with Assembly Set for January Start. So the way these stories work is that someone leaks in the supply chain that Apple's ordered special parts for the next version of some device that Apple's making. And the culprit generally is this news service out of Taiwan called DigiTimes. And MacRumors reported that DigiTimes noted that Apple has reduced its fourth quarter orders for iPad 2 display components in order to accommodate production of iPad 3 parts. This is what MacRumors says. And it says that Digitime now expands upon the information in a new report claiming that the iPad 3's display panel suppliers Samsung, LG, and Sharp will have delivered approximately 3 million units to Apple's manufacturing chain by the end of the month. So it looks like, starting in January, they're going to start assembling the iPad 3 for a March or April launch. One thing that the news stories say is that they've been testing a smaller iPad with only 7.85-inch screens for Apple, but it's unclear if Apple's going to release a smaller iPad. Look, it's all exciting. I think one thing that we're looking for in the next iPad is to have higher resolution and faster processor and probably a better camera. So anyways, the rumors are getting hot and heavy. Well, MacRumors followed up that other story about the iPad 3 with another story about the iPad 3. This one reporting on a website called iLounge reported, and basically MacRumors is saying that iLounge added some tidbits from its, quote, most reliable source, end quote, regarding Apple's product plans for 2012. Now, on the iPad, according to iLounge via MacRumors, the source indicates that iPad 3 is planned to launch in March. Duh, of course it's going to launch in March or April. And that it will be approximately 0.7 millimeters thicker than the iPad 2 due to the need to incorporate a dual light bar system for the high-resolution display. So that's the big news, that the iPad 3 is going to be a little thicker than the iPad 2. Now, personally, to me, the weight's more important than the thickness. So if, Apple made it a teeny bit thicker but lighter, that would be great. The article also talks about a Mac Pro, MacBook Pros, and the iPhone design. But, look, I think here's the thing we can count on. The next version of the iPad will definitely have a faster processor. Apple's going to strive not to reduce the exemplary battery life. Right now that's one of the great strengths of the iPad. It, can really last like 10 hours without a charge, like using it. I'm pretty sure Apple is going to have a better screen. That's going to be a real challenge in terms of price. I don't think people will be that upset if it's a little thicker. Again, it's the weight that's more of an issue. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it. Now, the Kindle Fire, has come out, and a lot of people think it's going to be the first real viable threat to the iPad, made by Amazon. It's essentially a smaller device than the iPad, like a 7-inch screen. It's made by Amazon, and it costs only $200, which is a lot cheaper than the $500 iPad, the minimum price. Well, some people have given it reviews, and the reviews have been kind of mixed. One review that I trust comes from Marco Arment, who is the developer behind Instapaper, but he also blogs, and he's got a great website called marco.org, and Marco's a very honest guy. I listen to him on his podcast, Build and Analyze with Dan Benjamin, and he is, he comes across as honest. But he did this review for the Kindle Fire, and I guess he got the Kindle because he has an app on the Kindle. Instapaper is a great reading app because you can save websites to it, and it strips out all the gook and makes it just plain text. So basically, he is not very happy with the Kindle Fire. So he basically says, there's a lot of problems. For example, he says the interface of the Kindle Fire, he says almost the entire interface is sluggish, jerky, and unresponsive. He says many touch targets throughout the interface are too small, and I miss a lot. It's often hard to distinguish a miss from interface lag. He says the on-screen back button often doesn't respond, which is particularly frustrating since it's essential to so many navigation. There are no buttons, I guess, on the Kindle Fire like the home button on the iPad or the on-off button on the top. So it's all software-based, but according to Marco, the Kindle Fire is buggy. Here are some other points he makes. He says, I keep performing small drags when I intend to tap, especially on the home screen. This makes the most common home screen action, launching something, unnecessarily difficult and unreliable. So anyways, he finds the software to be buggy and, the touch not that responsive. The hardware, he says the backlight leaks significantly around the top edge when held in portrait mode. He says the asymmetric bezel chin is distracting in landscape orientation. What else? Reading. He says in reading, he keeps inadvertently turning pages when he intends to bring up the menu. The page turn animation, he says, is distracting, too long and jerky. He says magazines are a special beast on the Fire. They can either be custom apps like on the iPad, or they can provide their content in a split page view mode. He says, he gives an example. The New York Times, he says, is sluggish and confusing to navigate. This is the New York Times app, I guess, or native newspaper on the Kindle Fire. He says the page turn animation stutters each time. Now, in terms of watching video, he says there really needs to be a hardware volume control buttons. There are none on it. He says the video selection from Amazon's Prime is poor compared to Netflix library. He says the Netflix app is terrible, that the video stutters and drops frames, and that it crashes a lot. MP3 listening, he says MP3 playback isn't gapless. He says 6 gigabytes is not a lot of space to store your music. He said the headphones sometimes pop. So he basically ravages the Kindle Fire. He basically says it's a terrible, crappy device. Now, I do think it's going to sell well just because it's so cheap. It's $200. So I think a lot of people are just going to buy it because a lot of people might not be able to afford $500. I mean, we are in a recession. There are a lot of people struggling to earn a living, to make, meet bills, make ends meet. In terms of apps, he says the built-in email app is pretty poor with a limited, clunky, unintuitive interface. He basically really doesn't like it. He says the Fire is an Android version, sort of the iPod Touch. It's the first device available that's inexpensive and offers Android in a somewhat reasonable package without a cellular contract, but that's just about all I can say for it, he says. It's a bad game player, a bad app platform, a bad web browser, a bad video player, and most disappointingly, a bad Kindle. He says, if I didn't need the Fire for Instapaper testing, I'd return it. So, I don't know. I think it's going to sell well, but I think a lot of people aren't going to be able to compare it to an iPad because they don't have an iPad. I think the people who have an iPad who get the Kindle Fire are going to return it. So, all in all, it doesn't sound like a good review for the Kindle Fire. Now, apparently Apple a couple of days ago has tweaked the iPad App Store, according to MacStories.net. I haven't noticed it, but they have an article out saying that Apple rolled out a very minor yet important change for the App Store's homepage on the iPad. The article in MacStories says that previously the news and noteworthy and staff favorite sections in the iPad App Store could be viewed by hitting an arrow button that scrolled the various pages inside these sections. Now users can swipe to navigate between pages of apps listed in the sections with page indicators similar to the iOS home screen available at the bottom to indicate a user position. Now, this sounds like a great tweak because I did find it kind of annoying that you'd have to use the arrow to navigate among pages left and right. The article says, more importantly, this little tweak has been implemented in the, quote, release date, end quote, tab of the iPad App Store as well, so that you can browse by release date is now more convenient for two reasons. It lets you see every iPad app ever approved, and it displays the total number of available iPad apps in the store. So this is kind of interesting. It says it used to be that because of clunky navigation, moving between pages in release date view was very slow, and the iPad would lose its position after scrolling dozens of pages. And it says with the new swiping method, the whole view is faster. So it gives some screenshots. It says that at the moment of writing that article, Apple was still using the button-based navigation in the purchased area. So I haven't tried this, but this sounds to me like a great change because really what makes the iPad great is the whole concept of swiping and not using pointers and buttons and that sort of thing. So, you should test it out. Check out the iPad App Store and see if you can swipe among the pages. To me, it sounds like a great improvement. Now, one other thing I love about iOS 5, both on the iPad and the iPhone, is iMessages. I just love the text messaging, and I actually use it on my iPad a lot. I text message my wife, and before there was no sort of chat or text client in the iPad. Now, one thing that I kind of miss, though, is that I can, iMessage to my iPhone or to my iPad, but I can't iMessage to my Macintoshes. And there is iChat on the Macs, but iChat doesn't work with iMessages. But TUAW.com has an article out on November 17th, which notes that at least one developer has found some code in the latest version of iOS that hints that iChat functionality could finally be coming to the mobile operating system. And the code mentions various chat services like Jabber and AIM. And while it doesn't mention iChat, the article says there are some strings in there that aren't yet included in any of Apple's standard apps. So, what's going to happen? I don't think it makes sense for Apple to have a separate iChat app in iOS 5. I think iMessage is like a chat client. I think what Apple needs to do is have iMessages work with third-party clients like AIM and Jabber, and then also work with iChat so that iChat on a Mac can send iMessages to the iMessage app. That's what I would do. In fact, I would just get rid of iChat on the Macintosh and turn that into iMessages and have iMessages be available on all devices, and have iMessages not only be able to send, like a text or MMS string, but also, work with AIM and Jabber and other chatting clients. That's what I'm hoping for. But this is a sign, this code, that Apple's obviously working to do something. Well, the iPad should be doing even better in China than it's already doing because of something that an article in TUAW.com reported on November 18th. And the title of that article is Chinese App Store customers can now pay with their own currency. So this is kind of huge. The story basically says that Apple's iTunes store in China, and I guess that means the iPad App Store, received an upgrade this week, and the store now accepts payments in the local currency, the renminbi, and lets users replenish their iTunes accounts using bank cards from over a dozen Chinese banks. It says previously Chinese iTunes Store only accepted US dollars, and this made it difficult for Chinese customers to make purchases. And it says now that most iOS owners set up their iTunes account and only download free apps. But now Chinese customers can add money in 50, 100, 300, and 500 yuan increments. This is huge. This is huge because this is going to really make the App Store much more viable in China, which is clearly a gigantic growing market. It's also going to help, according to the article, curb iOS app piracy, because now I guess a lot of people in China were using like black cards, which were basically cards that had compromised credit card accounts on them. And so now by making it easy for Chinese customers to use their bank cards, they'll maybe have direct sales to Chinese customers. So this is huge, and I think it's going to really help Apple in China. Okay, so one of the most popular paid apps right now for the iPad is an oldie but goodie, and that is the Charlie Brown Christmas app. And it's a little pricey. It's $6.99. At one point this week, it was number one grossing in the iPad App Store. Right now, it's number 3. And basically, it's got the movie in there, the Charlie Brown Christmas movie, and it's got sort of all sorts of interactive stuff. It says here it's got the original dialogue from the 1965 animated classic. It's got narration by Peter Robbins, the original voice of Charlie Brown. It's got soundtrack featuring music and sound effects from the original show. You can decorate your own Charlie Brown Christmas tree. You can participate in lights and display contests to unlock rewards. There's an educational features such as word and note highlighting to help improve reading and musical skills. You can hear individual words spoken with the tap of a finger. You can touch and drag objects to make them spring to life or tilt to watch them slide and move. And there are objects that pop out of the page to delight you and your family, it says. So, I don't know. I may get this. I mean, the screenshots look pretty good. It definitely is in the holiday spirit. The reviews are kind of mixed. There's some people giving it 1 that says that it's a cute and very basic app for the money. Some people say it's way overpriced. It is a little pricey at $7. I may wait. Sometimes these things tend to have some sales, and I might wait another week or two to see if it drops in price. But it looks, like a very solid sort of entertainment for the kids. It weighs in it almost 90 megabytes, so it will take up a chunk of your precious iPad space. And I don't know. Overall, though, it looks intriguing. Well, one of the more popular free apps on the iPad has gotten an update. I learned this via the MacStories.net website and Flipboard. Flipboard, which is a great app. It's free, and basically it allows you to turn your social media from Twitter, from Facebook, into like a magazine. Plus, you get all sorts of free content from real news sites like Wired, from Google Reader and stuff like that. But here's the coolest thing. The latest version of Flipboard for iPad has a major update which introduces Flipboard accounts, and you can sync content across devices. And so what it says is that it also has support for Tumblr and 500 pics. It brings a new option to create a Flipboard account and start storing your favorite content in the cloud. And so this will then work with Flipboard for the iPhone. And for those users who share an iPad in the family, accounts will be the easiest way to load a user's existing sources, subscription, and social accounts without having to start over every time. And it says the feature is already enabled on the iPad app, and it takes a few steps to create an account. Enter a username, password, email, and a real name, and Flipboard will create an account for you. So this is good, though, because there's probably a lot of people who share an iPad within an account, within a family. And so, before you might be limited to just one view of Flipboard. One person sets it up. If somebody wanted to sort of reset it, it wipes everything. And this way you can switch from accounts. The person at MacStories.net said that he tested Flipboard account management feature and it worked flawlessly. He was able to create an account, log out after a few minutes, and upon logging into Flipboard again, all his sources and social accounts were pulled from the cloud with no errors. Very cool. So look, I highly recommend Flipboard. It's really a great app for the iPad. Again, it's free, and it's really one of the most useful apps on the iPad. It really turns all sorts of web content into like a magazine, and I basically have my Twitter feed go into it, and key articles that I like. So check it out. Okay, another app that you might want to check out both for the iPad and the iPhone is a 99-cent app called Video Stream for iCloud. And it says it's 99 cents for a limited time. But what it does is it takes a video on one iOS device and automatically it appears on all your other iOS devices. So, one of the limitations with iCloud Photo Stream on iOS 5 on the iPad and the iPhone is that it only photo streams your photos and not the video that's in your camera roll on the iPad or the iPhone. Well, this third-party app takes your video, I guess in your camera roll, and it automatically makes it appear on the other iOS devices. And so you basically import videos from your camera roll, and Video Stream for iCloud sends copies over the network to your iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. Now, it currently doesn't do it with the Mac, but it says a Mac version is coming soon. And it says you can publish a download link for your video and share it with your friends via Twitter or email. And other features include you can save a video to your camera roll. You can adjust video quality in settings, high, medium, or low. You can email video as an attachment. You can copy a video. Now, look, one thing that's going to be annoying here is that it just doesn't take everything immediately from your camera roll. It's a third-party app. I mean, what we really need is Apple to make video, photo sharing to be, there for videos, not just for photos. But in the meantime, this looks like a 99-cent fix to be able to sync over the cloud your videos. Now, some people are a little critical of the app on the comments. One person writes, this app claims to work with iCloud, but only on other OS devices, not on your iCloud account and iPhoto or Aperture on your Mac. So they have a point. I don't know why they say it's iCloud, because Apple may pull this app because it's not, well, maybe it's using iCloud, maybe it's using that back end to send the stuff, but it's not storing anything for your Mac to get on iCloud. But again, it's only 99 cents, so if you really desperately want to try to find a way to sync wirelessly and share your videos with your other iOS devices, check it out. It's called Video Stream for iCloud, 99 cents. Okay, so this next app came to my attention via TUAW.com. They point out that there's a new travel app for iOS devices, and it's free, and it's called Inrix Traffic App. That's Inrix Traffic App, INRX. And they say it's pretty good. It says it provides real-time traffic maps, traffic forecasts, accident and incident reports for every interstate, highway, and major arterial and city streets. And they point out that the reviews are pretty positive, and that the data they collect is sourced from long-haul trucks, taxis, delivery vans, and commercial fleets. It also says the app has a predictive technology that analyzes the hard data and takes factors like the day of the week, weather, accidents, and road work. So anyways, it's, this sounds like a very interesting app. It says version 3.5 is the latest planned release and should appear very soon in the App Store. So I don't know. It's intriguing. It's called Inrix Traffic App. Let's see. In the App Store, yep, it surely is free. Right now, it's version 3.2.2. I wonder how they make their money. There's an in-app purchase. So it's free, but the top in-app purchase is something about the traffic. So I guess if you want traffic updates, it costs extra $25. Let's see. Some of the reviews say, no idea. Somebody gave it 4 stars and says, no idea what all those negative ratings are about. Better interface, neater forecast, then beat the traffic and smoother reporting service feature. like Beat the Traffic, it keeps the screen up when auto lock is on, which is important for navigation app, but 3.0 update makes it really worthwhile. So generally it seems to have positive reviews. Someone writes 3 stars. The Inrix Traffic App is the best for coverage and accuracy. It saved me tons of time giving awesome predictive traffic. So I may test this out. I have an iPad, and it would be nice to just prop up my iPad to the right while I'm driving, with that big screen. And, this looks pretty cool. It says the key features: avoid delays with real-time traffic info from the world's largest traffic network. View traffic incident on your route, such as accidents, police, construction, and events. Know your best time to leave based on predictive traffic conditions. In version 3.2.2, it adds support for OS versions prior to 4.2, and it allows zoom out with tap 2 fingers and zoom in double tap with 1 finger. So I don't know. For something that's free, it looks pretty good. What does it say here for top in-app purchase? I guess you get more traffic updates for $25. So it's not totally free. So I don't know. I never heard of this one before, and it looks pretty intriguing to me. Inrix Traffic. Okay, so another interesting free app you might want to check out is called Looking Glass Children's Videos. And so it says here that Looking Glass Children's Video helps kids 2 to 8 have fun while learning about the world around them. And it's free, but you get more out of it if you subscribe for $4 a month. So basically for $4 a month, you get 3 new videos every week, with new videos arriving every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you'll get immediate access to the entire backlog of Looking Glass videos upon subscription. So it's not really free. I guess you get some content for free. So you get, if you download it and don't subscribe, you get free sample videos and show your life how the world works in a whole new way. So, I guess basically these are sort of videos to teach children how to do stuff. Let's see what the ratings look like. On the old version, one person writes 5 stars. Kids can't get enough. I have 2 sons, age 4 and 6, and they both love these videos. They already asked when they can get more. There is no dialogue, just lots of lovely footage and upbeat music that both of my sons wanted to watch over and over. The Ice Cream Factory was a favorite. I was amazed at how much they picked up about the process of making ice cream from just the short. Each time they watched, they caught something different. Somebody else writes, great for parents, 5 stars. A great way to provide safe content for your little ones. My kid really enjoys every video and gets excited when new ones become available. So I don't know. It looks like sort of all around people giving this 5 stars. I had never heard of this app, but it looks like useful, something useful. The only thing that I balk at is that it's $4 a month subscription. So, that can add up. I would prefer if this was I would rather pay a one-time fee and have access to the content. Anyways, it's called Looking Glass Children's Videos. Now, writing apps or note-taking apps have been something that have intrigued me, and I've been following on the iPad for a long time. One app that is now number one, I guess, in top selling or top grossing, is an app called Notability, which is right now on sale for 99 cents. So it's 80% off. I guess it usually goes for $10, or I guess that's right. And so it's basically a handwriting recognition app. And now I guess they're celebrating version 4.0. And it says that 4.0 is the first truly integrated note-taking app for the iPad, and that it stands on a framework that automatically links notes with audio recordings, notably supports all of your note-taking needs. Handwriting, PDF annotation, processing, and more work together seamlessly, allowing you to create comprehensive, beautiful notes quickly and simply. You can auto-sync, ensures your notes are backed up safely, and now you can personalize the look and feel of the library and tools with the themes. It's got full-featured handwriting. You can zoom view to quickly record the smallest detail. You can import PDFs, so you can annotate PDFs. You can import a class note, syllabus lecture, presentation, or book chapter in PDF format. I know that's something I like to do a lot of. It's got an advanced word processor when speed and accuracy are essential. It says here, the advanced word processor feature supplies the perfect tools. So I guess you can type in it. The big thing is the linking the audio recording. Write your notes and have the audio recording automatically linked to your notes. So you can take the notes with knowledge that the linked recordings help with the review during playback. You can also add media to your notes with pictures from the photo library. So I wonder, their competition is probably Notetaker HD. Now, Notetaker HD doesn't record audio along with the notes. So in version 4.01, there is update to handwriting, PDF import. You can import directly from the cloud. For 99 cents, I may check this out. I have so many of these handwriting, note-taking apps, but there's like an arms race among them. The reviews seem pretty good. One person writes, perfect app out of 4 to 5 note-taking apps I have purchased. Some way more expensive. This is the best. Easy to use, well organized, tons of feature. I love it. See if there's a bad review. No, they're all pretty good. And this is right now the number one app in the App Store. So you should check it out. I think for 99 cents, it appears to be worthwhile. Now it weighs in at 20 megabytes. It's by a company called Ginger Labs, Inc. So check it out. Notability. Now the next app came to my attention via the Stylish iPad Apps blog on Tumblr. They do a good job spotting stylish iPad apps. And if you have a kid, like my kids, I think loves Dinosaurs, there's now a dinosaur app in the iPad app called Dinosaurs by Rise Studio. Now this one is $4.99, and it appears to be all about dinosaurs. And the ratings are like in Japanese for some reason, or Chinese. I'm not sure why it's appearing like that in my iTunes account. But basically, it uses 3D effects and 360-degree angles. So you can touch to control display. And it says it's easy for kids to manipulate the dinosaurs on their own. and it introduces kids to 30 different dinosaurs and all kinds of dinosaur knowledge. And there's full text and narration available in English and Chinese languages. And there's professional sound effects, music, and dinosaur sounds especially made by the Rai music team, high-definition version for use with the first or second generation iPad. And a dinosaur game is under development and will be available later. So basically, it's a way to sort of look for kids to play around with dinosaurs, the different types of dinosaurs. It's sort of a multimedia app. And we've seen a lot of that. I mean, I have a multimedia app on the presidents, and it takes you through a timeline. And here's a nice, $5 isn't bad if it's going to educate and entertain your kids. What's cool about it is that it's in both the English and Chinese languages. So they're obviously looking for a big Chinese market. It's pretty big in volume, which usually means there's a lot of content. It comes in at 212 megabytes, so it's pretty big. So you might want to check that out. It's called the Dinosaurs by Rai Studio. Now, stylish iPad apps on Tumblr also brought to my attention another cool app. Now, if you're into music, you might want to check out this $2 app. It's called 76 Synthesizer by some entity called Never Be Normal. Now, what we've seen is there's a lot of music apps that sort of try to recreate old-time synthesizers, and that's what this one is. And it's basically an old-style synthesizer from like the 1970s, sort of like what the Moog synthesizer was. And back then, everything was analog, and you basically took these wires or plugs and plugged them into different sockets, and you had oscillators, creating different sounds. So it's kind of limited. It is kind of funny that we're using the iPad to do retro synthesizers from the 70s. So the features include 3 oscillators with sine, sawtooth, triangle, square waves, and switchable filter, the LFO. You have a voltage control filter. You have an ADSR, you have glide, you have pitch bend modulation touchpad, you have 3-octave touchpad for note input with 9 different scales, you have 8 different effects: reverb, phaser, flanger, chorus, overdrive, delay, tremolo, vocoder, and you have 8 different writable presets and stunning retro interface. So and in version 1.1, it supports core MIDI input. So that means with core MIDI input support, if you get like a little MIDI connection device, you could hook up an external keyboard and play the synthesizer. One person writes, this app gives it 4 stars and says, this app is very cool vocoder, and oh wow, it could be 5 stars all day if it had recording capabilities. Nonetheless, very professional grade musician instrument here. Somebody else writes, great sound. The addition of core MIDI really helped the functionality. Thanks. One person gives it 3 stars and says it's okay, but not worth the money charged. Again, they're only charging $2. Now, look, I think this is worthwhile for someone who's in a band that uses the iPad as an instrument. This program doesn't record the music, but I could see someone having, frankly, I think there are bands now using iPads and iPhones, but I could see like someone being a musician in a band who has like 5 iPads, and he could lay out different iPads and hook them up to different mixers. And on one iPad, he could have this synthesizer. Another iPad, he could have GarageBand. Another one, he could have the Korg, synthesizer app. But I bet you're going to start seeing like musicians who use multiple iPads as their, keyboard rack. So this is very cool. Look, for $2, it's a cool way to go back to retro synths from the 70s. So the next story is kind of whimsical. from the Cult of Mac website. It has an article entitled, "It Would Take 61 Million iPad 2s to Match the Power of the World's Best Supercomputer." The article says the iPad 2 has some impressive mobile silicon inside. The A5 processor is a dual-core affair with 1 gigahertz clock speed, capable of 171 megaflops. But it points out that that you would need, some people figured out at some place called Royal Pingdom, that you would need 61.5 million iPads 2s to match the 10 billion megaflops of the K computer. So the K computer, I guess, is like one of the most powerful supercomputers out there. And so they say that's enough iPad 2s that if you stack them on top of one another, the pile would be 540 kilometers high, which is the equivalent of 1,700 Eiffel Towers. So, it's an interesting thought experiment. It just goes to show you that the iPad 2 has a long way to go until it becomes compatible with, I guess, one of the best supercomputers out there. Very interesting. Okay, so that's it for episode 81 of the iPad podcast. This is Lex at Mac's Future. Thanks for listening. This is a chat-free podcast. Any positive feedback in the iTunes store would be much appreciated, or on YouTube or on Blip TV. You can see the video version of this podcast there with screenshots, or on Apple Things, which is the video version of all my podcasts on iTunes. Thanks for listening, and you can follow me on Twitter, and I go by the handle Mac's Future. You can also find the Mac's Future page on Google+. So again, see you next week. This is Lex at Mac's Future.